we're live.
Beautiful.
New year, new us, new podcast. I'm Aaron. Got Guy and Reese. This is the Better Blokes Project. We're here to basically just shed some light on how blokes think, talk to blokes about blokey sort of stuff, but ultimately to really help blokes with their mental health. It's something that, not a lot of people really talk about, how men and women's mental health is slightly different, but we want to have people on board to sort of talk to us and sort of give us a bit of an insight of how other blokes sort of deal with things. And I think that's a really good leadway into sort of our first conversation for numero uno, and that is 2022 is gone. And for a lot of people I've seen on the book, they've been saying it was a shit-house year. For me personally, it was a real cracker, but I want to throw it over to you blokes and just sort of, I guess, give you a bit of an introduction to yourself and then sort of talk about, 2022, what have been some of the challenges and how have you kind of overcome them?
Go, Guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 2022, thank Christ it's gone for me. Not no annus horribilis like 2020 and 2021 was, but yeah, I'm glad to see the backside of it. Yeah, work, family, all that sort of jazz. Just keen to move on. Yeah. Don't know what else to say there. Work's been not horrendous, but just struggling with changes with it.
Yep.
I've probably sort of made some peace with my future with that, so I'm sort of a little bit que sera with that. But yeah, just I've struggled with it this last 12, 18 months, and it's probably just only now that I've sort of made peace with it that, exactly what I said, que sera, sera, whatever may be, will be. And, if I'm there or if I'm not, matters not. So, yeah.
Bring on 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
cool.
fella.
Your turn, Reese.
Yeah, same for me. Fuck, I'll cry here. I had a stinker, but I drove home from the fireworks last night at Devonport and I said, as bad as it was, I don't want to be one of those people that I hate 2022 and because more good happened than bad. So kids grew up. We're all still here. We're all still waking up. Some of us aren't. Some very close family members aren't. But that is life and we need to roll on and remember those good times and that's it. So for me, it was a really, really challenging year. I learned heaps about myself, I suppose, as well, and made some improvements, but also had some, really, really stinker times. So, but like I said, sun will be up tomorrow and we've got to keep cracking on.
For me, a lot of it has been understanding overwork, working long hours with sort of day job, starting a podcast, but also sort of the side hustle of starting a men's mental health organisation. Burnout is real.
Yep.
And understanding sort of where that fine line has been a big thing for me and a big achievement for me as well for 2022. And I've learned a lot. I've learned that as much as you want to, you just can't do everything. Like you need to be able to rely on other people to pick up some of the slack.
Yep.
And find people that, particularly in my world, find people that you can rely on to do that work for you and with you as well. So something that I'm really grateful for 2022, and it's just made me so much more excited for 2023.
Yeah, definitely sharing the load's a big thing, I think. And it's, I keep saying I was thinking about things coming over here all the time, and it's, Rose and myself are probably not in a unique position, but we're up here. Rose's support networks in Hobart, mine's in New South Wales, but we've managed to find some a really good crew that just everyone just helps us out, shares the load, just sounding boards and stuff like that. It's just really good.
Yeah, and how do with a little one on the way myself, how do you guys sort of manage not having sort of that immediate family support network, particularly, and not trying to time date the podcast and where it is, but we are literally the 1st of January today. So right at the beginning of 2023, like we've just gone through Christmas. How did you sort of cope with some of those family struggles, I guess, during that period? Because I know that that would be relevant for a lot of people that might be listening.
We've managed to prune some, not dead wood, but some infected wood for the most part, which has made us much happier, we cruise along a bit more without people that weren't adding value to our situation. They'll never listen to the podcast, so it's one of those things.
You never know; it could get massive.
I think I probably spoke down on 2022 a bit too much. Rose and I have sort of developed and grown a lot this year, and we do worry about things less. We just let it run. And that was one of the things that I'd sort of mentioned before is I want to this year going forward, I want to sort of push myself a bit more, but I also want to be mindful that I'm not pushing myself too hard. I know since 2020, we had a big holiday planned in 2020, which got knocked on the head because COVID came like the week after we booked it. And we've not, I myself haven't taken time off like I normally would. Like I've never had a full 4 weeks worth of annual leave banked up, which I do now, which just means I haven't been taking the leave that I normally have. I need to take that time. I need to just decompress. I've taken 2 weeks off now. I'll be back on Tuesday at work, and these 2 weeks have been fabulous. Just getting away from it. Yeah. It's
massive taking time off. And it's funny for me because I think I was just talking to you earlier today, like when you asked sort of when I was going back to work and not going back for like a month. And for me, I've reflected a few times actually, just where I'm like, shit, I should be doing something. Should be doing work. Should be checking my emails. Should be doing X, Y, and Z. And then I have to consciously think, no, it's not even been a week.
Yeah. I did that for the first week. I checked my emails for the first week. Part of it for me is not wanting to go back to 50 emails.
Yeah.
If I see an email that I can deal with in 2 minutes, deal with it. Because I get back in 2 weeks and it's going to take me 5 minutes. It's going to take me twice as long. So, yeah, I did do that. I shouldn't have, but
yeah. And it admittedly, I've done a bit of that, but I've tried to, really tried to just sort of do nothing, which is surprising for me when someone sort of says like, like what do you do? And you sort of sometimes, or I do sometimes feel like, oh, I don't really do a lot. But then when you literally actually try to do nothing, you realise I do a fair amount of shit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot happening.
I have heaps of days off from work and I say that I do nothing with the kids and play with them and do this, but we go somewhere every day and visit someone or we go to the park and that's still something. It's not just limping around home, but to me it's nothing. It's things that we enjoy going to socialise and to the park. To me, that is nothing. It is just chill. There's zero stress. There's nothing for me to think about. Whereas I say I'm doing nothing, but I am still busy. So I don't know. It's different people's perspectives on what nothing is, I suppose.
And it's the perspective thing too. One of it was mentioned to me late last year. I was talking to one of my mates at work, and he's like, Alex was doing swim school with school, and he was at us one night. He's like, you haven't washed my swimmers. I was like, yeah, we'll get there, mate. We'll get there. And he was up every 10 or 15 minutes. You need to put my swimmers on. I need my swimmers for tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. We got it sorted. And we actually kind of got a little bit cross with him for getting up and pestering us about these swimmers. And I was sort of relaying it to my mate the next day, and he's like, you got to sort of remember, like, it's a minor part of your world, but for those kids, it's the big thing tomorrow. It's the big thing for the week, or it's the big thing. Like, they don't have the frame of reference that we do. So it's that perspective. Like, it's nothing for us to go to the park, but it makes the kids' day.
Yeah.
It's pretty wicked.
Yeah. I love it.
Something that I've got to look forward to.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Amongst all the apparently black poos and all of that when they're first born, and
mate, coffee dates at the park are where it's at. Grab a coffee and go to the park.
Yep.
I'm honestly looking forward to it. One of the big things that I've sort of found as telling people, oh yeah, I'm going to be a dad. I'm pretty excited, blah, blah, blah. And it's something that's probably pissed me off a little bit is just everyone just being negative as.
Yeah.
Like I'm super excited about being a dad and having a kid and, we only want one. So, whatever. But just every time I've said to so many people like, oh yeah, going to be a dad. And everyone's like, oh, that's super exciting.
Screams all night.
Kiss your sleep goodbye.
Yeah. Just all this shit. And you're just like, oh, come on. Like, I get that. Like, I get it's going to be hard. And I get that I probably don't have any fucking clue how hard exactly it's going to be. But isn't that a part of it?
Yep.
It is definitely a part of
100%.
So why fucking make it a negative experience?
Yeah.
It's just I think it sets you up for failure when people are like, it's going to be so bad. And yeah, it does suck. It sucks, but it's only a period of time. Now Angus is 4.5, and he'll sleep through.
Yeah.
He gets up way too early and wakes us all up, but he sleeps through.
Yeah.
It's you just deal with it.
And I know
you deal with it for that period of time.
Just quickly while you're on that, and for people watching or listening, to steal something off the Hamish Blake podcast, what are your dad stats? How many kids? How old? Etc.
I've got 2 kids. Emmy's 4 now, and Lewis is just shy of 2. So 2 in 15 days. We've got to organise his birthday. Because believe it or not, you don't actually have to have your birthday organised with personalised invitations out 4 months out, because all that does is just put stress on mothers that doesn't need to be there. So you can just text people and be like, hey, we're going to the park, and that's a sufficient birthday. So
Yep.
For a 2-year-old that probably...
He's not going to remember.
I think,
Yeah, I said Sunday session at the park.
That's it.
He doesn't know.
First, second, and maybe third birthdays is just an excuse for parents to get together and drink some beer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Just don't play it down as it's like, oh, little Timmy's going to love people to come around. It's just like, oh, but no.
They don't
Probably
realise.
not.
Half the kids he probably doesn't even like. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Do kids not like other kids?
Yeah, some do, I think. I don't know. Do you? Yeah, there's definitely kids at daycare that's like, oh, I'm going to just say Oscar. I've never heard of the name Oscar, so that's why I'm using it. But, oh, Oscar did something naughty today, or Oscar did this, or Oscar was bully, or, that does happen.
The
There's
twins
kids.
are so naughty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know those twins, mate.
Yeah.
Red hair. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Little horrors.
But nah, I think the best thing, and for me it was the best thing, and I spoke to you about it when you told us about having this child that you're going to have, was just literally don't listen to anyone, or listen to those people you want to listen to, but ultimately it's your baby. You'll do what's right for you, and that's all that matters, because no one else is bringing up that child. You are. Naturally, you'll bring it up the way you want to, and you'll bring it up safely. So that's it. Just do that.
It's one of those
Just
things. Critical thought. You should apply critical thought to everything in life, parenting included.
Yeah.
Take in all the evidence, weigh it up, and make decisions based on that.
And for me, the biggest thing that I want to get to is just being there.
I suck at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I suck at that. Yeah.
Yeah. And by being there, I don't just mean sort of, in the house.
No, you mean phones down, just attention.
Yep.
There. Yep.
Being in the moment. And look, obviously naive, not a dad, so I don't have any idea or frame of reference. But I think for me, if my one goal for being a dad is just to be there, just all the time, in whatever way that looks like, and not be that dad that's sort of like, oh, I can't be bothered kicking the footy today, or granted when it's a baby, like,
Yeah.
fucking kick a footy, but I just want to be that person that's just, if you ask my kid sort of what their experience of dad, or what's dad like, or what's he do, dad's always there, always around, or always,
A big one for me is like after dinner, so we have our dinner together, we talk about our day, we do all that sort of stuff. They often go off for a bath. I go and do the dishes because I want the dishes to be done, so that we can have our little time once the kids go to sleep. But I've missed out on bath time all the time. So I make a little bit more of an effort now to just go and visit them at least and see them in the bath a couple of times while I'm still doing the dishes because the household's still got to run. Like we can't be up till midnight cleaning up every night. So, yeah, little things like that, I did miss out on, and I'm a provider. Like I'd work 70 hours a week so that Yaz and the kids could work, Yaz could work 0 and she could just spend all the time with the kids. I'd be happy with that. I'd deal with it because it would be giving. But now I'm like, but Yaz doesn't want to just be with the kids without me. She wants me to be there. So now I do make that bit more of an effort to cut back. But it's taken 4 years for me to learn that. Like, I'm only just getting better at that now.
I still suck at 7 years later.
Yeah. Good.
100%.
I don't feel so bad now. But yeah, that's a natural thing for blokes to be providers for the family. That's just how it's drummed into you. You need to go to work 100 hours a week so that the kids and the wife can be happy. Well, no, because they're actually happy when you're there.
Definitely
you're present.
Definitely with regards to work, you don't need to be, just thrashing yourself doing work. But and I kind of disagree with being there all the time. I think when you are physically present, you need to be present in the moment. But one of the big things I'm a massive advocate for is take your time. Like take some time for yourself and be able to give your partner time to do their own thing. Like Rose and I have very few overlapping hobbies. Yeah. But we can just go, you go out and do your thing, or I'll go and do the podcast, or, whatever I want to do. There's no expectation that we're in each other's pockets, and I can leave the kids with Rose to go and do something, or Rose can leave the kids with me to go have a girls' night or whatever like that. You've got to, that's key. I think you've got to maintain yourself and have that time to make sure that you're doing what you want to do, not just what you think you need to do.
Totally. That's some super sage advice. And not to turn it into a dad's podcast, because that's totally not what it is. But I think for me, a big part of it coming into it is everyone that I've spoken to up until this point has sort of said, you can literally do fuck all for the first 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you can sort of really do is support your partner, and that's about it. Because up until that point, you're just a bloke in the building that's just getting in the way.
Yeah, somewhat, but also it comes back to, I know plenty of, probably not plenty, but I know some that had a really hands-on approach in that first 6 months, and that's what they wanted as a couple. So it just comes down to you two and the baby. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't matter. Don't be like, oh, I'm not going to do that because I just need to get away and let her do it. If you want to do it, do it. Just sort it out between yourselves. I don't even want to know about it. It doesn't bother me.
Take your cues from her too.
Yeah.
If Liv wants to do something herself, just fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If you can get right into it and be right there and doing lots of things, but realistically, once you've shot your shot, you don't. There's no physical need for a bloke.
Yeah.
Not
like the basketball reference there, like that.
Which shot I'm talking about. Yeah,
the 3-pointer. Yeah, from way out of left field,
from the halfway
downtown.
line.
From way downtown. Way downtown.
Yeah, but like physically, you don't need to be there, but no, you should. Like it's society, totally. and that's what family's all about.
And you want to be, but like I guess the hard thing that talking to a lot of blokes is, they just don't know where they sort of fit in that dynamic.
I think you guys communicate pretty well, from what I understand.
Fairly well. I mean, we've been together for like 15 years, so
exactly.
Clearly do something fairly right.
Whereas Rose and I haven't been together for that long. We've probably been 9 years now. We had to work on that communication stuff, and that Rose will tell you straight up that we sucked at it. We just do something and stew. Or not do something, or I'd not do something, or she'd not do something, and we just stew and just get fucking furious at each other.
Yeah.
Now we're not so much.
And I think that's a really good point, and good to sort of roll into sort of the next part of what we were trying to get out of this episode is, what are some of the big focus areas that we've all got for 2023? Like, as we've already mentioned, it's the 1st of January now. We're rolling into the new year. We've had, in some cases, a pretty shitty 2022. Not trying to like dwell on where that is, but what are we planning for? Like, have we made any thoughts on what are our big goals for 2023? I know you sort of mentioned a little bit before, Murph, about want to be a little bit more driven.
A little bit more driven. Fitness-wise, sucking at fitness right now.
Yeah, I'm on that train.
The only reason I'm not the size of a house is because I manage my eating pretty well.
I don't. I'm the same though.
You like, but yeah, fitness. I've got a mountain bike that's sat in the shed now for what? You'd be the same.
24 months for you, probably 12 months for me.
Fucking ages.
Yeah.
Tyres are probably dry rotted.
Yeah.
I need to get out and do that more. Rose has had a bike that she's never ridden in anger.
Yeah.
Don't want to blame COVID. COVID fucked us. COVID's like mentally fucked us. So yeah, driven both professionally, personally, fitness, health, just, the cliche shit. I said before, 1 in 2 New Year's resolutions don't work. So if I make heaps, then I should get some.
I think it's more than that. I think I've seen a stat that it was like around 10%.
Yeah. ABC, I actually read that article that, ABC News said it today, 1 in 2 don't work out.
Yeah, right.
Maybe
is that in general?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought I had heard it was much greater than that, but
it probably is. I mean, gyms.
Yep.
Every gym banks on New Year's.
Yep. And so many gyms.
Yeah, that makes heaps of coin, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But they bank on people joining up at New Year's. Like there's an allowance in their budget that people join up at New Year's and then just don't come. And they know that's a certain percentage of their membership. If they don't remind them about the gym, they'll keep paying their gym membership.
Yeah. Especially when it's only like $12 a week or something like that or whatever. Yeah. What about for you, mate? Goals for this year?
Not really a goal setter. I had a big session the other week. It wasn't mindfulness. It was something along the lines. But during that session, he said something like, when do you take your car to the mechanic? And it was when it's due for a service. So when do you go and get help, like mentally and stuff? When you're fried. So I'm going to go for a service more regularly and do things more regularly for me that suit, whether that be a bit of fitness, whether that be going for a Reiki session, whether that be going to the beach, whether that be taking a weekend off to just go away by myself or with the boys to get a break from the fam, whatever it is, I'll just know what it is and I'll do it rather than sit there and dwell on it and think that I shouldn't do it because it's impacting other people or whatever. And I probably need to do some more running and swimming. So
to work on
a few kegs, work on my winter bod, I reckon.
Winter bod.
Try and get it fun.
To work on your vehicle metaphor there, don't be like Guy and his Navara.
Yeah.
Don't wait until the head gasket blows itself out the side.
Yeah. Don't sit on jack stands.
No, I did really like that reference. It was good. It's fitting.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's really just, it's probably just continuing to do more of what I've done in 2022. Just being able to reflect on where I've come from, where I'm heading, not getting too bogged down in work and that kind of stuff, but also knowing that I need to get other people on board to work with me and to help sort of do things. And I know that like come May, it's going to get much harder. And I think I will ask this question again, like once that sort of happens in May, as to sort of what are our goals for 2023? Because I think for me at that point in time, it'll just be to survive. So I think that's pretty much a good point to finish off this first episode. So just to sort of roll over what we're all about on the podcast is we're going to be having guests, obviously the spare chair. For those that are just listening, there is a spare chair here where we're going to be having rolling guests every week come on board to talk to us about sort of a little bit about their lives, what they've been doing for themselves, for their mental health, setting goals, what actions they've put in place to be able to keep on moving forward as blokes and just be that 1% better. So that's basically it for the first episode. We hope you join us again in the future. Cheers.
Cheers.